Hello, my name is Dale Hudson, and an equal contributor to this presentation is Emily Sears Vaughn. We are very excited to speak with you about attachment theory, the student-teacher relationship, and their influence upon learning. In front of you is our contact information, so if you have any questions, suggestions, or comments about what you hear and see, we encourage you to let us know. Also, at the end of this presentation are a list of references and additional readings, as well as a link to a self-report survey determining your own individual attachment style. So if you're interested, we encourage you to follow the link. Some 30 years ago, Emily bought a house in the Los Angeles area, a fixer-upper that had many cracks in the plaster. Emily wondered if it might be from age, poor construction, or from the infamous California earthquakes. Over the years, Emily spent many days patching and painting, only to find that a few months later, the same cracks reappeared. A few years ago, Emily was finally able to solve this dilemma. An elderly workman explained to her that the reasons for the cracks had to do with the home's foundation. The clay soil expanded when wet in the winter and shrank in the dry weather of summer. He had illuminated a blind spot, something Emily could see but couldn't understand the underlying causes for, and it wasn't until the workman explained to her that it all made sense. In Emily's work as a licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and school counselor, and my research and professional work in engagement and organizational behavior, we have been fascinated by the cracks that develop between girls in school. Why some girls embrace new challenges and others resist change. Why some are more vulnerable to distress while still others show great resilience. And why some girls misbehave and underperform while others have great personal satisfaction and high academic achievement. When girls underachieve, schools and education reform tends to look at class size, curriculum, and funding as the source of the problem. Just as Emily finally discovered the underlying reasons for the cracks in her home, we are suggesting that issues such as class size, curriculum, and funding, while providing some answers, may not tell the whole story. Research clearly indicates that the benefits of effective relationship functioning predicts greater knowledge, higher test scores, greater student engagement, and fewer referrals for emotional and academic help. So how does one achieve effective relationship functioning, and why is it so important? Anyone who works with girls is constantly confronted with how important relationships are, how a girl's attention and performance can be hijacked when a conflict in the relationship occurs, and how strong emotional reactions can destabilize girls for long periods of time. You see this every day in classrooms and schools, but you may not be aware of the origins of these individual characteristics that each girl brings to school that shape school relationships and that influence academic performance. Just like the cracks in the home, you can see them but, in a sense, may be blind to the underlying cause. It is our belief that attachment theory is the soil under the house, the foundation that helps explain not only the importance of the student-teacher relationship, but also a girl's personality and her functioning effectively in the classroom. Attachment gives deeper meaning to the behaviors and emotions that you as teachers and administrators see in girls at school, but struggle to understand and deal with. Youngminds.org describes it this way. There is a population of pupils in schools who seem unable to access learning, to engage and achieve, and to move onto or into adulthood with confidence. Children whose diminished self-esteem and resilience are limitations on engagement in relationships, academic achievement, and emotional and cognitive development. So what is attachment theory? How does it connect school relationships, learning, and academic success? And what do attachment relationships look like in schools? Our presentation centers on the answers to these questions. Attachment theory was originally developed by John Bowlby, a British psychoanalyst. Bowlby defined attachment as a lasting psychological connectedness between human beings. Attachment describes the formation and quality of relationships between individuals, particularly during stress, uncertainty, and confusion. Attachment is widely considered one of the most influential, empirically based theories of human behavior and affect regulation within the social environment. Extending throughout one's lifetime, attachment can help teachers and administrators understand the implications of early experiences in relation to later outcomes, including learning. For example, attachment researchers in a long-running study in Minnesota have been able to predict, with 80% accuracy, 3.5-year-old students who would go on to graduate from high school. 7 decades of empirical research has shown that attachment is a universal characteristic that predicts a girl's development of cognitive and social competence, emotional regulation, and positive self-image, all essential elements of a girl's ability to learn and thrive. As girls develop, they struggle with emotions and feelings they're not quite sure about. When you add in the uncertainty of transitioning to middle school or high school, the need for some autonomy from parents, peer relationships, and social functioning, these struggles are quite likely to create the types of circumstances that activate the attachment behavioral system. And we've not even mentioned the stress and uncertainty produced by competition in the classroom. The attachment behavioral system has 4 defining characteristics. The primary feature is to establish and maintain physical and/or psychological proximity to the caregiver, that special individual who is considered stronger, wiser, and more capable. The second characteristic is that the attachment figure or primary caregiver acts as a safe haven, or a source of comfort and security for the girl so that she experiences diminished anxiety and/or relief from the threatening circumstances. Third, the attachment figure serves as a secure base from which the girl explores the social and physical world. In our conversation here, that means she is free to engage in the classroom and engage in learning. Lastly, the girl experiences increased anxiety during unwanted or prolonged separation from the attachment figure. This behavioral system is so strong when activated, it overrides a girl's higher cognitive processes and becomes the primary motivator of a girl's behavior. From the book Attachment in Middle Childhood, they state, "The child will devote energy and resources to conservative, safety-enhancing measures. The focus on managing fear drains energy from learning and exploration, stunts growth, and distorts personality development." Although Bowlby's work focused on the infant-mother relationship, research shows us that attachment continues throughout one's lifetime, and because teachers hold such a prominent place for the development of girls, the student-teacher relationship exhibits the same attachment characteristics as the infant-mother relationship. So where do attachment styles come from, and how do they form? Different patterns of infant-mother interactions create within the infant differing physiological responses, different ways of seeing the world, different patterns of relating with others, and the infant's ability to integrate learning and adapt to future stressors. These early experiences actually shape the infant's brain circuits and become represented as mental models of the infant and the infant in relationship to others. Through repeated experiences, these mental models become automatic, acting at an unconscious level, and as the infant develops, serve as a blueprint for her expectations and assumptions of how relationships, including the responsiveness and reliability of others, will be in the future. By viewing the world through their mental models, girls enact or construe experiences to fit their particular model. These unconscious strategies which girls bring into school shape the way girls interpret their interactions with teachers and peers and affects their behavior towards others. Research shows that positive mental models become a source of strength, confidence, flexibility, and adaptability, while negative working models are a source of rigid or chaotic thinking that can lead to inappropriate or dysfunctional behaviors, the results of which stifle a girl's confidence and learning ability. Research by Mary Ainsworth, first an employee of Bowlby's and later a colleague, documented that these mental models become organized into different patterns of behavior elicited by the infants and their mothers. These distinct patterns she called the infant's attachment style. Currently, 4 attachment styles have been identified. The first is called secure. When the mother or caregiver consistently recognizes the distress signals sent by the infant and engages with the infant in a timely and appropriate fashion, any perceived threat or discomfort is reduced. Then the infant is able to calm down and she experiences her caregiver as reliable, helpful, and supportive. The infant feels safe and secure in her world. In school, securely attached girls have positive feelings about themselves and others, and they can direct their mental and physical resources towards exploration and the challenge of mastering new things. Moreover, should they run into difficulties, they feel confident that they can problem solve and or gain support and help from their teacher or attachment figure. These girls understand and balance the need for autonomy and reliance on others. Further, research findings show that when girls have a supportive relationship with their teacher, one where they feel a sense of security, they are more likely to work hard in school, follow directions, and persist when they get stuck on problems. These girls are also more likely to perceive themselves as academically capable, socially engaged, and able to maintain a healthy student life balance. Let me give you a few examples of what we see as secure attachment in schools. A 7-year-old girl experiencing divorce at home goes to her first grade teacher in the mornings for a hug of encouragement, even though she is now in the 2nd grade. A 4th grade girl struggling in math shows comfort in admitting to her teacher that she needs help with multiplying and dividing fractions. And a middle school girl experiences bullying from other students and approaches her social studies teacher to discuss it because she believes and trusts that the teacher will listen and help. The second attachment style is called insecure anxious. When an infant is faced with stressful situations and the caregiver's responsiveness is out of sync with the infant's needs, the infant experiences the attachment figure as unreliable, worries about whether the attachment figure will be there and supportive, and is uncertain that relief from the fear or confusion will be provided. This means the infant must continually monitor the whereabouts of her attachment figure. Her success at seeking and maintaining proximity to her attachment figure has been experienced as erratic, causing the infant to remain in a heightened state of anxiety. In school, an insecure anxious girl becomes preoccupied with gaining the attention of the teacher and keeping the teacher close. Internally, the threat of disappointing, misstepping, or not knowing makes the girl constantly strive to cover every eventuality. Have I, did I, will I, or what if are questions that pepper her thinking and conversation. It takes a lot of energy to repress this internalized anxiety. Impossible to repress entirely, this chronic anxiety can lead to excessive feelings of guilt, agitation and aggressiveness, and poorer performance in school. A few examples of an insecure, anxious girl in school might be a defeatist attitude towards attempting a new assignment, immediately concluding the assignment cannot be done or that she will be unsuccessful at it. even if she has been successful in the past. Angry outbursts or other attention-seeking behaviors, even at the cost of negative consequences. For this girl and others like her, some attention is better than none at all. Let me give you an actual quote from a teacher. I had specifically not called on her because while she had her hand raised, she was calling out and other students were respectfully raising their hands. In the next class, I had to send the child out of the room because she was being so disrespectful. The last two types of attachment styles occur due to a caregiver's chronic failure to provide support and comfort to the infant. The insecure, dismissing girl holds a positive image of herself, but a negative image of all others. She has an overinflated view of herself and attempts to control her fear, her surroundings, and her relationships. Exercising control over her surroundings and relationships gives the girl the illusion of safety and security. In some cases, this girl is compulsively independent or self-reliant, making it difficult for her to trust the teacher and to ask for help. She may target others for exploitation and or feign neediness or friendship as a means to control others, hoping to relieve her own fears and uncertainties. In school, this girl has difficulties collaborating with others in projects. She may surround herself with other girls she perceives as weaker, so she can direct their behaviors. In popular literature, we may hear her described as a queen bee or a mean girl. The fourth attachment style is insecure fearful. An insecure fearful girl has a negative image of herself and of everyone else. This girl wants to have close relationships with others but is afraid of being hurt or rejected. This girl may feel less capable than her classmates and is likely to fear that her teacher, friends, and other classmates will find this out and reject her. This places the girl in the unenviable position of trying to meet the expectations of everyone around her. Evidence suggests that these girls appear to be the most susceptible as targets of bullying or of isolating themselves. These girls are often caught in situations without a resolution, or more aptly described as fear without a solution. For example, if a girl does not do or turn in her homework, it's likely to have negative effects on her grade and standing in the classroom. However, for a fearful girl, she believes that her work is never as good as her classmates. By turning it in, the teacher and class will find this out, and this belief initiates within this girl the same feelings of hurt and rejection she had she not turned in the homework at all. She may have constant excuses for failure to turn in work or may consistently ask for extensions of time to complete it, which she never does. In addition, this girl may repeatedly miss conferences set by teachers to discuss her situation. An extreme version of fearful is sometimes referred to as disorganized style of attachment, and is characterized by an extreme mistrust and fear of others, a high sensitivity to perceived rejection or criticism, and a chaotic, disorganized, or disoriented approach to schoolwork. Usually the victim of early childhood trauma, these students provide the greatest challenge to teachers and schools. While our efforts so far have focused on a girl's style of engaging with others, attachment styles persist throughout one's lifetime, so teachers and administrators as well come to school with particular attachment styles. In the student-teacher relationship, as in all relationships, the reciprocal influence that each one has on the other is what contributes to or interferes with the success of the relationship and the formation of a positive learning environment. This suggests that teachers have a dual role to play in the classroom, that of caregiver, being available, supportive, and helpful to girls, and that of a care seeker, needing their own support and help to meet the demands of teaching and functioning in schools. Philip Riley, an expert on education, documents an example of the student-teacher interaction. In order to satisfy their attachment needs, insecure students will cling harder to a dismissing teacher, provoking an angry response from that teacher. The more the dismissing teacher pushes back, the more the students cling, and the cycle of pushing away and clinging continues to repeat. This student-teacher relationship becomes self-defeating, and both may end up disengaging from the classroom and from the school in general. As this example illustrates, the feelings of anger, frustration, and hopelessness or helplessness you as educators experience in response to a girl's behavior are all good diagnostic tools for recognizing how various attachment styles are brought into the classroom and interact to help or hinder a girl's learning. We recognize that to fully comprehend attachment functioning in schools, more time is required than is available in this presentation. Therefore, we would like to leave you with a few things to think about. First, not all behaviors are attachment behaviors, and not all interactions at school or elsewhere are attachment interactions. While you may assess a girl who sits in the back of the class and hardly participates as dismissing or fearful, the girl may be just shy or culturally discouraged from speaking out in the classroom. Broadening your awareness of the mechanisms of attachment can have far-reaching effects beyond the student-teacher relationship and the process of relationship building to other important issues such as bullying, girls' struggles with self-esteem, depression, teacher bias, and stereotypes that limit girls in professional life. Although attachment styles persist throughout one's lifetime, studies reveal that earned secure attachment styles, with all their inherent positive attributes, can be formed through a long-term relationship with a secure attachment figure. Since we have girls in our school for just such long periods, it's never too late to begin to offer girls the basic elements of secure attachment. Understanding and recognizing insecure attachment styles can help teachers not to act in ways that confirm an insecure girl's mental model and perpetuate old ways of interacting. And finally, the challenge for schools is understanding that the school climate and the student-teacher relationship share a reciprocal association in whether that climate enhances or undermines the student-teacher relationship. It is our belief that in this age of high-stakes testing and accountability for teachers and students, it is important not to lose sight of the student-teacher relationship and its influence in learning and academic success. Attachment theory is uniquely suited to enhance our understanding of teacher and student relationships because it provides a way of considering the complexities involved in these relationships. The blind spot created by schools that ignore these relationships only heightens the possibilities of girls and teachers feeling alone, isolated, and disengaged. And finally, this last comment. Attachment theory and research have convincingly taught us that our children are much more than the sum of their behaviors, and that our understanding of them and our relationships with them rely on much more than evaluating their homework, test scores, and their GPA. Attachment theory suggests that knowledge of a child begins from the inside out, and that such developing knowledge is fundamental to our emerging relationships with them. We appreciate your time and attention. And again, if you have any comments, suggestions, or additional thoughts, please do contact us. We would love to hear from you. Thank you.